Hollywood was shaken when what seemed like a routine interview quickly became the center of attention in the entertainment world, as Ben Affleck, a beloved Hollywood star, unexpectedly clashed with Jimmy Kimmel live on air. Before diving into the story, comment where you're watching from, and don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the latest stories. That night, the stage was ablaze as Ben Affleck walked out, spotlights beaming, the audience roaring like crashing waves. He raised a hand in greeting, his smile sharp, but his eyes flickered with caution, like a fighter entering the ring knowing his opponent plays dirty. Jimmy Kimmel, seated behind the host's desk, clapped half-heartedly, his eyes glinting as if holding a hidden ace. No warm-up jokes, no friendly banter. Kimmel leaned forward, his voice smooth but cutting like a knife. "So Ben, all of Hollywood's buzzing. You and J-Lo crashed and burned again, right? Or are you just drowning in whiskey?" The studio air felt drained of oxygen. The audience, just cheering moments ago, fell silent, with a few murmurs rising and fading. Affleck sat up straight, fingers lightly gripping the chair's edge, his gaze locked on Kimmel. His voice was low, each word deliberate. "Jimmy, I'm here to talk about The Accountant too. My personal life isn't in the script. You know that." Kimmel chuckled, a smirking half-laugh, as if stung but still in control. "Oh Ben, don't be so serious. The audience here," he gestured to the crowd, "they don't want to hear you drone on about action movies. They want the real stuff. What blew up with you and J-Lo? Come on, spill it." Affleck tilted his head, a hint of sarcasm crossing his lips. "Really, Jimmy? I thought you were a host, not a paparazzi moonlighting as a news anchor." The audience erupted, some clapping, sensing Affleck's sharpness. Mark, a journalism student in the middle row, raised his phone higher, lens aimed at the stage. He whispered to his friend, "This is about to get wild." Kimmel didn't back down. He leaned on the desk, eyes narrowing, voice slick but provocative. "Paparazzi? No, Ben, I'm just doing my job, digging for the truth. You're a big star, right? Surely you can handle a few hot questions. Or are you scared?" The crowd held its breath, some whistling, but the atmosphere had shifted into a divide, one side craving drama, the other sensing Kimmel was crossing a line. Affleck didn't flinch, but his eyes were now like cold steel. "Scared? No, Jimmy. I just don't like cheap games. You want the truth? The truth is I agreed to sit here to talk about work, not to let you turn me into a headline for YouTube views." His words landed like a quiet blow, strong enough to make Kimmel pause for a second. The audience murmured louder, with a few "that's right" shouts from the back. Mark, eyes gleaming, adjusted his camera angle, whispering, "This is going to blow up social media." He sensed this wasn't just a spat, it was an explosion about to ripple across the internet. Backstage, the show's director signaled to Kimmel, waving as if to say stop, but Kimmel, with a forced smile, ignored it. He leaned in, voice lower but dripping with sarcasm. "Cheap? Ben, you're in Hollywood. Everything here's showbiz, including you. Or should I ask about, what, those months in rehab?" The question was like pouring gasoline on a fire. The audience gasped, some shaking their heads, others wide-mouthed. Affleck took a deep breath, his grip tightening, but his voice stayed steady. "Jimmy, you're trying to dig up something to save your show. I get it, but I'm not a puppet for you to pull strings. Want to play dirty? Go ahead, but don't expect me to bow." Some audience members stood, clapping, while scattered boos aimed at Kimmel began to rise. Lisa, standing in the wings, bit her lip, fingers flying across her phone, texting the PR team, "Things are going south. Prepare the media script." She knew Affleck wasn't one to be cornered easily, but Kimmel was playing a dangerous game. On stage, Kimmel smirked, but his eyes betrayed unease. He knew he'd just lit a fuse, yet he clung to his confident facade. "Bow. No, Ben. I just want you to be real for once. The audience deserves to know, right, folks?" He turned to the crowd, hoping to win them over, but the response was only a few forced laughs and a chilling silence. Affleck shook his head slightly, his gaze no longer a blade but a steel wall. "Real? You want real, Jimmy? Let me be straight. You're disappointing me. I thought you were a friend, but now I just see a host ready to sell out for a clickbait headline. The Jimmy Kimmel Live studio now felt like a bullfighting arena, the audience roaring, eager to see who'd fall first. The stage lights poured down, illuminating Ben Affleck, sitting tall, eyes glinting with mockery, as if playing poker with a cheater. Jimmy Kimmel, face smug, ran a hand over the host's desk, his voice sweet as rock candy but sharp as chili. Come on, Ben, drop the high and mighty act. You let J-Lo slip away again, and now your kids are probably wondering, what did Dad do to wreck love this time? The audience froze, a few scattered laughs mixed with groans of discomfort. Affleck raised an eyebrow, twisting the ring on his finger, lips curling into a sarcastic smirk. Jimmy, since when did you become a family counselor? Or should I call you Dr. Kimmel therapist, so the audience knows to steer clear? His tone was lazy, but each word stung like a needle aimed at Kimmel. Kimmel, jabbed by Affleck's retort, narrowed his eyes, forcing a still-in-control smile. Family counselor? No, Ben, I'm just a friendly host helping you open up to the public. You're a star, right? Surely you're not afraid to share what your kids think about this messy divorce, are you? He waved a hand, trying to pull the audience into his game, but the crowd responded with only a few awkward laughs and wary glances. Affleck let out a dry chuckle, the kind that made Kimmel flinch. Open up, Jimmy, you're not a host. You're a drama hunter moonlighting as a low-budget director. Want me to talk family? Fine, here's the story. I teach my kids never to let a guy with a mic bully them. The line was a velvet-wrapped punch, both funny and cutting. The audience erupted, applause crashing like waves. A guy in the back yelling, Ben, teach him a lesson. Backstage, the show's director was practically pulling his hair out, arms flailing, muttering, Kimmel, stop, you maniac. But Kimmel, face red as a boiled shrimp, ignored every signal. He leaned in, voice low but dripping with sarcasm. Bully? Ben, you're playing the victim card a bit too hard. The audience wants the real you. Can you admit you screwed things up with J-Lo, or are you just blaming Hollywood? Affleck crossed his arms, his gaze now a sugar-coated blade. Admit! Jimmy, I'll admit one thing. I was wrong to think you could do an interview without turning it into a cheap courtroom. You want me to be a character in your drama? Sorry, I don't play the clown. He paused, glancing at the audience, adding, what do you all think? Should we give Kimmel an Oscar for directing? Mark, hands trembling with excitement, zoomed in on Affleck, muttering, this isn't just a video, it's an epic. In the wings, Lisa stopped texting, smirking. Kimmel brought this on himself. Ben's a killer. On stage, Kimmel tried to keep a poker face, but his grip on the pen was so tight, it nearly snapped. He forced out a line, voice shaky. Clown, Ben, you're overdoing it. This is a talk show, not a soap opera. If you can't handle the heat, just say so, and I'll go easier. Like, how long have you been sober? The question was like splashing acid. The audience gasped. Some booing louder, shouts of too far echoing through the room. Affleck didn't blink, just tilted his head, his voice now like a rich whiskey. Sober, Jimmy, I'm clearer than you think. Clear enough to see you're desperate to save your show by stomping on others. Want to ask about me? Ask about the movie because that's the only thing I'm giving you permission to touch. Kimmel, face paling, tried to laugh but his lips twisted awkwardly. He knew he'd lost a big round but his ego wouldn't let him stop. Permission? Then you're on my turf. The audience wants drama, and I'm giving it to them. He pointed at the crowd, but they responded with louder boos. Backstage, the director nearly collapsed, hands clutching his head, muttering, damn it, the show's done for. Affleck, still seated, his eyes now tinged with fatigue but unwavering, shook his head like he was looking at a misbehaving kid. Your turf. Jimmy, you're turning it into a dumpster. You want drama? Fine, but I'm not your puppet to pull strings. The studio now felt like a Roman Colosseum, the audience roaring, ready to see who'd fall. The stage lights blazed, spotlighting Ben Affleck, sitting like an unyielding general, eyes icy with a hint of mockery. Jimmy Kimmel, face flushed red, gripped the desk's edge, looking like a cornered man still trying to growl. He leaned forward, voice trembling but clinging to arrogance. Ben, you act all noble, but you're just an actor hiding your messy life. You think the audience is stupid? They want to know how you wrecked J-Lo's life. Affleck tilted his head, a disdainful smile curling his lips, as if Kimmel had just shot himself in the foot. Jimmy, you call that an interview? Sounds like you're writing tabloid trash for the supermarket. Wanna know what I wrecked? Definitely not this show. You've handled that yourself. His voice was smooth, like an expensive glass of wine, sharp and lingering. The crowd exploded, applause thundering, mixed with shouts, "Ben, tear him up!" A guy in the front row jumped up, raising a fist in support. Mark, the journalism student, nearly fell off his seat, phone recording frantically, muttering, "This isn't just gold, it's diamonds." He knew this video would set social media ablaze. In the wings, Lisa, Affleck's assistant, stood with arms crossed, eyes sharp as knives. She texted the PR team, "Kimmel's self-destructing. Get the press release ready." She glanced at Affleck, thinking, he's a stage monster. Kimmel, struck by Affleck's jab, went pale, but his ego wouldn't let him retreat. He slammed a hand on the desk, voice sharp, "Tabloid trash? Ben, you're on my stage, and I set the game. The audience wants drama, and you'll give it to them, or you're just a coward dodging the truth." His words were like a wild swing, but the audience answered with louder boos, some yelling, "Kimmel, shut up." The studio atmosphere was now a furnace, and Kimmel was burning himself. Affleck crossed his arms, his eyes now a quiet storm. "Your stage? Jimmy, you're turning it into a battlefield, and you're the first casualty. I'm not scared of anything, but I'm not here to entertain your bloated ego." He paused, glancing at the audience, adding a mocking jab. "Folks, he says it's a game. Who wants a new host?" The crowd roared with laughter, applause crashing like waves, a girl shouting, "Ben for host." Kimmel froze, his hand shaking so much he dropped his pen. Backstage, the show's director was nearly losing it, rushing toward the wings, yelling into his headset, "Kimmel, stop now, you're ruining everything." But Kimmel, eyes blazing, ignored him. He shouted, voice cracking, "Cut to commercial, cut now." His mic accidentally picked up his curse. "Goddamn jerk," shocking the audience, gasps echoing through the room. The director clutched his head, muttering, "The show's done for." During the commercial break, the studio was like a chaotic marketplace. Kimmel stormed backstage, pointing at the production team, yelling, "Why didn't anyone control that guy? What kind of work is this?" The crew shrank back, no one daring to respond. On stage, Affleck stayed seated, scrolling his phone like nothing happened, his calm demeanor radiating the aura of someone who'd won this round. Lisa approached, whispering, "You just torched him. Stay cool now, let us handle the PR." Affleck smirked. "I'm cool, but if he wants to keep playing, I'm ready." Mark, still filming from the audience, zoomed in on Affleck, muttering, "Look at him, cool as a superhero." He posted a short clip with the caption, "Ben vs. Kimmel, who's with Ben?" Within seconds, views skyrocketed. The studio audience was in chaos, some standing and arguing about Kimmel, others chanting Affleck's name like cheering for a sports team. After the break, Kimmel returned to the stage, face strained, forcing a smile. "Sorry folks, guess I got a bit too enthusiastic," he said, voice dripping with fake charm. "Ben, I didn't mean to upset you. Maybe you're not used to straight-up questions." Affleck shook his head, his gaze now a velvet-sheathed blade. "Straight up? Jimmy, you're not straight up. You're just digging through trash to fill your show." "I'm not upset. I'm just disappointed. Thought you were a host. Turns out you're just a gossip chaser." The audience leapt to their feet, applause thundering, drowning out the background music. Kimmel, face now like he'd been slapped, tried to regain control. "Gossip chaser? Ben, you're in Hollywood. People live off drama. If you can't handle it, go make artsy films no one watches." But his words were like a breeze blowing through. The audience no longer on his side. Boos grew louder, a girl shouting, "Kimmel, enough!" Mark, hands shaking with excitement, zoomed in on Kimmel, muttering, "He's committing live TV suicide." Affleck stood, adjusting his jacket, eyes tinged with fatigue but unyielding. "Drama? Jimmy, I've lived through enough drama to know when it's trash. You want me to play by your rules? Sorry, I've got my own." He turned to the audience, speaking slowly. "Thanks for being here, everyone. I don't want to ruin your night, but I can't sit here being turned into a punchline." Kimmel, sitting there, face ghostly white, hands gripping the desk like he wanted to snap it. He knew he'd gone too far, but his ego wouldn't let him stop. He growled, "You want to walk? Go ahead, Ben, but don't expect the audience to forget this." Affleck didn't reply, just gave Kimmel a look that said, "You brought this on yourself." The studio was now like a volcano about to erupt, and no one expected that. In just a few minutes, one action would shake all of Hollywood, thrusting both men into an unprecedented media storm. The stage lights scorched, spotlighting Ben Affleck, standing tall, his eyes like a smoldering fire, ready to incinerate anything if pushed too far. Jimmy Kimmel, behind the host's desk, face ashen, looked like someone who'd thrown a rock at a beehive and now realized his mistake. He took a breath, trying to regain composure, his voice hissing through gritted teeth. "Ben, who do you think you are, huh? Some white knight straight out of your movies? You can't just walk off because of a few questions. The audience paid to see you, not to watch you throw a fit." His words were a final swing of the knife, but they only enraged the audience more. Boos surged, like waves crashing against a cliff, mixed with shouts. "Kimmel, shut up!" Affleck stood still, hands in pockets, a mocking smile flickering across his lips, as if Kimmel had just dug his own grave. "White Knight, Jimmy, you're quite the playwright, but your play's a flop. I'm not throwing a fit. I just don't want to be the clown in your cheap comedy." His voice was light, like a cold breeze, but strong enough to make the studio tremble. The crowd erupted, applause like bursting firecrackers. A woman in the front row yelling, "Ben, you're a legend." Mark, the journalism student, nearly jumped out of his seat, phone recording frantically, muttering, "This isn't just a blockbuster, it's a whole galaxy." He zoomed in on Affleck, knowing this video would crash social media. In the wings, Lisa, Affleck's assistant, leaned against the wall, eyes sharp as blades. She texted the PR team, "Kimmel's collapsing. Prep the Ben stands up for respect message." She glanced at Affleck, thinking, he's not just winning, he's rewriting the rules. Kimmel, cornered by Affleck, face red as a tomato, stood abruptly, pointing at him, "Cheap. Ben, you're on my stage, and you dare call this show cheap? If you're too weak to answer, then get out, don't make a scene here." His voice cracked like a wounded animal, but the audience was no longer on his side. Boos drowned out the speakers, a guy in the back shouting, "You're the weak one, Kimmel." The studio atmosphere was now a furnace, and Kimmel was throwing himself into the flames. Affleck took a step forward, his eyes now a razor-sharp sword. "Get out, Jimmy, I don't need your reminder. But before I go, let me make it clear. I came here out of respect for the audience, not to be a puppet in your bullying game." He turned to the crowd, voice low but magnetic. "You all deserve a decent interview, not a brawl for views. Who's with me?" Backstage, the show's director was on the verge of collapse, darting back and forth like a headless chicken, yelling into his headset, "Kimmel, apologize now, or we're done." But Kimmel, eyes bloodshot, didn't listen. He rushed back to the host's desk, slamming his hand down, voice growling, "Respect? Then you're talking about respect? You're ruining my show, and the audience will see you're the one quitting." His words were like a punch into thin air, only making the boos louder. An older man shouted, "You're the quitter, Kimmel." Affleck shook his head, his eyes now tinged with pity, like he was looking at someone self-destructing. "Ruining your show? Jimmy, you did that the moment you opened your mouth. I'm not quitting. I'm just choosing not to play your dirty game." He paused, glancing at the audience, adding a jab. "Folks, if he wants views, maybe he should invite Matt Damon, at least he's funnier." The crowd roared with laughter. Applause like a tsunami. A guy yelling Matt Damon on stage. Kimmel froze, his hands clenched so tight his knuckles turned white. Kimmel, his face now like ashes, tried to roar, "Matt Damon? Ben, you're pathetic. Dragging out that tired old joke to save yourself. You don't deserve to be on this stage." But his voice weakened like a beast about to collapse. The audience had no patience left. Boos rising like a storm, a girl shouting, "You're the pathetic one, Kimmel." The director backstage slumped, muttering, "ABC's gonna kill me." Affleck took another step, his eyes now like an immovable mountain. "Pathetic? Jimmy, you're looking in a mirror. I don't need to save myself, I just need to hold on to my dignity, something you threw away long ago." He turned to the audience, voice slow and powerful. "Thanks for being here, everyone. I don't want to ruin your night, but I have to go because I can't sit here being turned into a joke." The crowd leapt to their feet, applause thundering, mixed with shouts. "Ben, don't go, we're with you." Jimmy Kimmel, sitting behind the host's desk, face ghostly white, lips pressed tight, looked like a man who'd bet and lost his entire fortune. He roared, voice shattering like falling glass. "Ben, you want to leave? Get out now. But don't expect the audience to forgive that cowardly attitude." His words were like a stray bullet, only enraging the crowd more. The audience roared, boos for Kimmel like a tempest, mixed with shouts, "You're the coward, Kimmel." Affleck stood still, his gaze sweeping over him, a faint smile like a breeze across a desert. "Forgive? Jimmy, I don't need forgiveness for choosing self-respect. You should worry about yourself. The audience won't forget this." His voice was low, like a ringing bell, each word a hammer blow to Kimmel. Kimmel, face now ashen, stood abruptly, pointing at Affleck. "Self-respect? Ben, you're just an arrogant actor who thinks he's above everyone. Get out and don't expect to come back to this stage." His voice trembled like a cornered animal, but the audience no longer cared. Boos drowned out the speakers. A woman shouting, "You're the one who doesn't deserve it, Kimmel." The studio atmosphere was now a volcano, and Kimmel was sinking in lava. Affleck adjusted his jacket, walking slowly toward the wings, each step a declaration. He paused, turning to the audience, voice warm but full of strength. "Thanks for being here, everyone. I'm sorry if I messed up your night, but I have to leave to stay true to myself. Hollywood's not worth trading your dignity for." The crowd stood, applause like thunder, mixed with shouts. "Ben, we're proud." An older man raised his phone, yelling, "You're real, Ben." Mark, eyes gleaming, filmed a close-up of Affleck's exit, muttering, "This scene's worth an Oscar." He knew this clip would dominate every platform. Backstage, Lisa stepped forward to meet Affleck, whispering, "You just made Kimmel a laughingstock. The PR team's ready to turn you into an icon." Affleck smirked, voice sardonic, "Icon? I just wanted to tell the truth. But if Kimmel wants more, I'm game." Lisa laughed, shaking her head. "You're such a Boston guy, tough as rock." Outside the studio, Affleck stepped into the hallway, dim lights casting a quiet contrast to the storm inside. His phone buzzed. A text from Matt Damon. "Heard you just burned Kimmel to the ground? Proud of you, but next time let me take the stage for fun." Affleck chuckled, muttering, "This guy, just wait, Jimmy'll beg you to save his show." He typed back, "Don't worry, I left some drama for you to handle." Lisa, walking beside him, glanced at the screen, smirking. If Matt goes on that show, Kimmel will be crying. Inside the studio, Kimmel tried to carry on, but the atmosphere was like a graveyard. He sat down, voice strained. "Folks, sorry for that bit of drama. Let's move on to our next guest." But the audience didn't respond, some standing to leave, murmurs spreading through the room. A girl muttered, "What kind of show is this? A gladiator arena?" Backstage, the director slumped, hands clutching his head, muttering, "ABC's gonna fire us all." The production team argued fiercely, one yelling, "Why didn't we cut that segment? It'll kill the show." Mark, staying put, filmed the chaos, posting another clip captioned, "Kimmel crumbles after Ben walks." Views skyrocketed, hashtag boycott Kimmel climbing the trends. In the hallway, Affleck paused, looking at Lisa, voice low, "I don't regret it. If I had to do it again, I'd still walk." Lisa nodded, eyes firm, "You did right. Now let us turn this moment into legend." Affleck shrugged, sardonic, "Legend? I just want to go home and watch baseball." On social media, Mark's video spread like a virus, thousands of comments flooding in. "Ben's the king. Kimmel's out of line." One wrote, "Affleck just taught Hollywood a lesson in respect." Other clips from studio audience members surfaced, each angle painting Affleck as a warrior leaving the arena in glory. In the studio, Kimmel tried to wrap up, but his voice faltered, eyes vacant. He knew he'd ignited a storm he couldn't extinguish. Backstage, the production team held an emergency meeting, one muttering, "If that open mic segment airs, we're done." The director yelled, "No one airs it. Delete everything." But a staffer whispered, "Mark already posted it all." The air froze, the team knowing the show had stepped into a media nightmare. Outside, Affleck walked to his car, faint moonlight hanging over Los Angeles. Lisa followed, her phone buzzing non-stop. She glanced at the screen, smiling, "Social media's exploding. You're a hero to millions." Affleck tilted his head, voice mocking. "Hero, I'm just a guy from Boston, saying what needed to be said." He got in the car, door closing, but his eyes still shone, as if knowing this moment would change everything. The media storm erupted hours after Ben Affleck left the Jimmy Kimmel Live studio. Social media became a digital battlefield, with hashtag #StandWithBen dominating the charts, clashing with boycott Kimmel, like twin fires torching the internet. Mark's video, from the journalism student, spread like a plague, racking up millions of views overnight. Comments flooded. "Ben's a symbol of self-respect. Kimmel tanked his career." One user wrote, "Affleck just gave Hollywood a lesson. Don't bully a decent guy." Other clips from studio audience members, each angle a puzzle piece, depicted Affleck as a warrior leaving the arena, head held high. Lisa, Affleck's assistant, worked relentlessly. She coordinated the PR team, releasing a statement. Ben Affleck stood up for respect, not just for himself but for every talk show guest. The message, sharp as a blade, was chewed over by the media. TMZ ran the headline, "Affleck crushes Kimmel in historic showdown." Variety praised, "Affleck redefines guest boundaries." The Accountant 2, the film he was promoting, suddenly surged, pre-sale tickets soaring. Lisa, eyeing the numbers, smirked. "Kimmel handed you a free PR campaign." Meanwhile, Kimmel sank into a nightmare. ABC, the network, ordered him to take a 3-day reflection break. He posted an apology video. Voice strained, "I went too far with Ben. I just wanted an entertaining show." But the audience wasn't buying it. Comments flooding in. "Too late, Kimmel." Major sponsors like Pepsi pulled ads, sending ABC into a panic. An anonymous former staffer told Deadline, "Kimmel always pressured guests to spill drama. The work environment was hell." The accusation was like pouring gas on a fire, prompting ABC to launch an internal investigation. Hashtag boycott Kimmel soared to the top, with fans compiling lists of times Kimmel crossed the line with other guests. Celebrities joined the fray. Matt Damon, Affleck's best friend, posted a meme. "Kimmel knocked out by Affleck," captioned, "Told you don't mess with Ben." The meme went viral, making audiences laugh but also reviving the fake feud of Affleck-Kimmel-Damon, now all too real. Jennifer Garner, Affleck's ex-wife, posted a family photo, subtly supporting him, moving fans. George Clooney on a podcast criticized, "Talk shows should respect guests, not turn them into clickbait." His words were like a manifesto, stirring Hollywood. Affleck, amid the storm, appeared at a charity event, casual in a blue shirt. He spoke briefly, voice low, "I didn't seek drama. I just wanted to do right. Everyone deserves respect, on stage or off." The simple but powerful statement was quoted everywhere. Fans created a Ben Affleck Stan fan page, sharing his walkout as a symbol against abuse of power. One wrote, "Ben taught me to stand up to bullies." The Accountant 2 reaped the benefits, with box office projections predicting record-breaking numbers. The entertainment industry shook. Major talk shows, The Tonight Show, Late Show, issued statements, "We commit to respecting our guests." A Hollywood seminar used the Affleck incident as a case study, titled "Ethical Boundaries in Talk Shows." The topic spread from podcasts to articles asking, "Are talk shows exploiting guests for views?" An anonymous producer confessed to Variety, "The Affleck incident forced us to rethink. Guests aren't puppets." The battle raged on. Kimmel's fans, though few, tried to defend him. "Ben's too sensitive. Kimmel was just doing his job." But they were quickly drowned out by the wave supporting Affleck. A parody video went viral, reenacting Kimmel being crushed by Affleck's words, racking up millions of views. Mark, who filmed the original video, shot to fame, landing a CNN interview. He grinned, "I just filmed because Ben was cool. Didn't expect it to make history." Lisa, seeing the news, texted Affleck, "You just created a media star." He replied, sarcastic, "Good. At least I did something besides making Kimmel cry." Affleck, now a symbol of resolve, moved forward with shining eyes, no regrets. At a family dinner, he sat with his kids, voice warm and low, explaining, "Sometimes you stand up not to win, but because you know what's right." His words, simple like a bedtime story, were powerful enough to plant seeds of self-respect in his children. Fans, through a rare interview, praised, "Ben's not just a star, he's a dad teaching us how to live." Lisa, the loyal assistant, became the architect behind Affleck's new image. She coordinated with the PR team, turning the incident into a media campaign. Ben Affleck, the man who sets boundaries. She texted him, with her usual sardonic tone, "You just made Hollywood relearn how to treat guests. Writing a book yet?" Affleck, on the set of The Accountant 3, replied, smirking, "A book? I'm busy filming. Let Kimmel write a memoir on self-destruction." The brief exchange was enough to make Lisa burst out laughing, knowing he was still the sharp Boston guy. Jimmy Kimmel, in contrast, sank into darkness. His show, once a talk show pinnacle, was now a tattered ship. ABC considered replacing the host, with rumors of Jimmy Fallon or Trevor Noah being eyed. Kimmel, in an empty office, rewatched the incident's video. Eyes weary. He muttered, "It was just an interview," but he knew the price of arrogance was a stain he couldn't erase. His fan page dwindled, comments filled with mockery. Learn from Ben Kimmel. Know when to stop. Mark, the journalism student, became an accidental media star. His video, with tens of millions of views, opened big doors. He landed an internship at CNN, eyes gleaming as he recounted, "I just wanted to capture a moment. Didn't expect it to change my life." A post on X thanking Affleck drew thousands of likes. "Ben taught me a small action can make history." Lisa, seeing it, messaged Mark, "You owe Ben a beer." Mark grinned, replying, "Absolutely." The entertainment industry, shaken by the incident, began to change. Major talk shows announced new policies. Guests can refuse personal questions, a Tonight Show director told Variety. Affleck forced us to reflect. Talk shows are for connection, not destruction. Hollywood seminars continued using the incident as an example, with speakers emphasizing, "Respect is the foundation of every stage." A Hollywood Reporter article concluded, "Affleck didn't just beat Kimmel, he beat the system." The story of the clash between Ben Affleck and Jimmy Kimmel on Jimmy Kimmel Live reflects real issues in today's American society, especially about personal boundaries, media pressure, and the culture of exposing private lives. In the story, Affleck steadfastly protected his family and dignity, as Kimmel relentlessly probed his divorce from Jennifer Lopez and past addiction, showing self-respect against the pressure for views. Kimmel, conversely, represented modern American media trends, where personal drama is exploited for ratings, regardless of consequences. The explosion of Stand With Ben on social media, along with reactions from audiences and celebrities, like Matt Damon, showed American society's craving for authentic values amid a fragile public-private divide. Affleck's actions, from walking off the set to teaching his kids about self-respect, set an example of facing pressure while holding firm to personal values. The lesson is that in today's America, where social media and news can amplify every moment, everyone should learn to set clear boundaries, like Affleck. When facing pressure from colleagues, friends, or the public, like Kimmel pushing Affleck to spill personal details, say no confidently without fear of judgment. Take inspiration from Affleck's calm demeanor, using sharp wit to defend your stance instead of losing control in anger. Also, like Lisa and Mark, use technology and media to amplify your voice, turning challenges into opportunities. Finally, as Affleck taught his kids, live true to your values, because that's the most enduring legacy in a society full of drama and pressure. Subscribe to the channel to support moments of standing up for self-respect, like Ben Affleck. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video to explore more inspiring stories.